All right, so let's see where we are. All right, it's good for the beginning. So go into that pose, and then we hold the pose. The arm goes up, the leg goes down. We're almost still in the same position with the hip. So let's see how long it takes. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 frames up and 8 frames holding. So as probably all of you know, this is an anticipation. And anticipation means it is the preparing of an action for the audience. Every action must have an anticipation, not just to handle the force, but actually to communicate to the audience what is going on or what is happening next. So there are two reasons for that. One is the anatomical, the physical reason, and the other one is the acting. So in that case, it is the physical reason, where we will show the audience and will communicate what is happening next. And all actions occur in 3 parts, and this one is the anticipation, the one that prepares the action. And the action, very often it is very fast. This is throwing the ball. And then we will go into the termination of the action, the follow through. Yeah, this for the principal anticipation. And here we are already going to the next pose, into the action. We throw the ball. And for that, I count frames again to see how long I stay at what position. For that, there are 8 frames. And first the contact with the foot, then the body, and the arm is dragging behind. So let's see here. First get rid of those keys, the double keys. So we have the translation from the anticipation to the next pose. It is already the follow through. On that foot, it's a contact. And in that moment, when the body turns in, the other foot steps behind. So there's the contact. And as you see, it's still sliding. He goes up here. Something like that. And at the end, all the weight goes onto the left foot. As for me, when I animate the poses, I'm try to look or take a look at the shape, look nice. But when I animate then forward, then I'm really looking for the force. I'm trying to see on which leg or on which side the weight is, and try to balance it out, or maybe see which part of the body is moving first. In that case, the foot is moving first. Sometimes you lead with the head or with the hand, or depending on what you do. I think this is quite interesting, a quite interesting way to maybe decide before you start your breakdown or your in-betweens, which of the body part should go first. Nothing starts or ends at the same time. So something always starts to lead, or something always overlaps. So here we lead with the foot. The contact is first, then the body is coming afterwards, is dragging behind, and always also the throwing hand is dragging behind. And maybe, we'll see, maybe also maybe even the left hand is leading. So let's take a look at the hand or the arm that is throwing the ball. This one is called, if you take a close look, it's breaking the joint. The hand is dragging behind, and it looks like the joint is breaking. Basically, as you know, if this would happen on my arm, this wouldn't be so good. So basically this is rotating the arm and elbow so it looks like it would break. This will happen here. See? We have to rotate the arm around like that. In that case, the elbow is leading. So just keep on rotating and translating all the controllers to get in the poses I want. So the hand in that case is overlapping. It's going after the elbow. First the upper arm, then the lower arm, and then the hand. So this is what we have now. Goes into the pose and throws it. Yeah. I think that's good for now. Alright, this is a follow through, a moving hold. And see how many frames there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Goes down. And this foot comes forward. So let's try to get that. How many frames did I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This body is turning. Rotate the arm a little bit more, and we still have to lose the ball. So how is the other hand moving? It's moving in an arc. Like you see, everything is moving in an arc. Be careful. Consider that in your animation. The head is more looking backwards, and this foot is moving forward. That. It's too much. Let's make less frames. The motion is now very even, and what I do, I want some frames from here earlier, so this movement will be faster at the beginning and slower at the end. I will tell you something about follow through and overlapping action. Follow through is at the end of an action. We'll see that in a second when the guy is hitting his pose where he throws away the ball. After that he will extend his animation to a more extreme pose. And this is called moving hold. The movement overshoots the final pose and goes into a more extreme pose. And this principle is used to keep the character alive after he hits a pose. You can do that by having either an overshoot and settling back in the final pose, or animating the moving hold, what we have here now. So the other way you can do it is the overshoot. You shoot over your last pose, but then you settle back into that pose. And overlapping action means to start a second action before the first one ends. And this causes the attention of the audience not to disappear, because there are no dead points in the animation. Nothing stops at the same time. Sometimes you have a character that has ears, tail, hair, long noses, belly, cheeks. You can use all that to do overlapping action. For example, with the belly and the cheeks, if the character stops, then maybe the cheeks can still wobble a little bit, or the same with the belly. And when maybe the tail comes to rest, then you can start to move something else on the character. But let's get back to our character. So, see why the perspective is good sometimes? Because if you only animate from the camera, you don't know how it looks from the side of the character. And you have better control or better selection options. Alright, so now I use the hands, the swinging of the hands when he comes up again. So rotate them. This foot is moving too, so let's put it into position. First key everything, and I get rid of those keys, the double keys I put in at the beginning. And now we have a transition from here to here. Get rid of those keys. Get rid of those keys. Put in new ones. And this foot will keep on standing there. Move, and after that, finished moving, the other one will start. Because his weight will be shifting from one foot to the other. A little bit. The arm makes an arc, and for the upcoming of his body, we will slow it down a little bit. So see what is happening with all his body parts. Moving nicely in arcs. And I try to get the same. And now for the timing. Let's see what is happening. At 200, he's in that pose. So let's extend this transition. Make it slower when he comes up. Right now, a little bit more time for shifting his weight here. And there's something weird happening with the rotation. We'll take a look at that in a second. He goes back, he opens his chest and swings forward into that very nice pose where he stands in an arc. His whole body is under tension. So first he swings back and then comes forward. So as you see, I always scrub through the timeline and see how it feels like, or I play it back. So I get the feeling for how the animation is, how the timing is, and then I start adjusting it. It's all about feeling and experience. Either you see it or not. And something weird is happening with the rotations. So let's try to put in an Euler filter. Yeah, and it helps. As you can see, it helps to put the rotations in another order, and now it's not doing weird rotations. He swings in here, swings back. Very nice example for the shifting of weight. Take a look at the weight. He goes up, comes down, forward, backwards, and rotates his body to us. So let's take a look if we can do the same. So while I'm always talking about timing, I don't know if I told you yet what this means. Timing is another principle of animation, and it means the amount of frames you take for telling the shot. This includes how long does a pose have to stay to act believably, and how long does a transition take between poses to work convincing? And how many frames do you spend to get the story point of your shot across? You can split timing into two areas. One, when you do the general timing for the shot, where you think this character will stand here, then he will be there, and will stand for a special amount of time in that pose. And then you have the timing when you go into the animation, for all the different body parts working together, making maybe overlapping action, how fast he moves out of the pose into another one, how long he stays in a pose. So basically this means the amount of time accelerating, slowing down and holding the pose. And you can generate physis, weight, and emotion, personality of a character. So I say it again. So with timing you generate the illusion of mass and size of an object as well as the personality of an object. So I come back later, I will tell you more about timing later. And here you can see that the animation that I'm doing is not the final one. For example, if I do my first key poses, it's not the final key pose. I will adjust it over and over again when I adjust the animation. Well, you shouldn't tell that to the director or maybe the animation director, because if one animation or the key poses are approved, they should stay like that, but basically I don't think it's possible. So adjust it, and if you change it, make it better. And for example, here I change the timing because I think I need it. I just make it longer. Here again, at the beginning I thought it would be 250 frames, but now I think I could need more frames at the end. I just extend it and put in more frames. Probably this wouldn't be possible in the production too, because you have a special amount of frames and you can't change it. Maybe if you talk to the director and really convince him that maybe here it would be nice to put in more time and make the character maybe more believable, or yeah, but basically in production this is not really possible, because you have your frames and the director is the one who decides if you need more or not of a character. With timing you can define the physis of a character. For example, a heavy or a light person moves different from each other. So you can show that by using different timing. And the different timing is exactly accelerating, slowing down and holding the pose. And this makes the difference between those characters. Or you can show it in emotion. So a sad person, a happy person, or an angry person, all of them, they move differently. The sad person maybe with slow movement, the happy person maybe with fast movement. A good way to learn more about timing is to watch reference material. For example, how other animators did it, or watch animal documentaries. Or play the shot yourself and record it on video and take a look. How long you stay in which pose. And after a while I think you get a good feeling for that. At the beginning, when I started, all my animation looked like underwater, spliny, wobbly, everything with the same timing thing. Alright, so let's take a look with the camera how the animation looks like. And as you can see straight away, the animation at the beginning is more clear, more to the point. You see he stops, and then from here it gets a little bit wobbly. It's not very clear. The throwing the ball is too slow, it's like in slow-mo. And when he gets up, the poses are also not very clear. So let's change that now. I leave the timing like it is now, because I want to show you how to tweak the timing a little bit later. For now I'm trying to do the poses more clear. So let's get started. First the arm. Make it a nice arc with a nice slow in, and slow out. And when the guy moves up, the hand comes down and swings in. Now we work a little bit more on the hip. Here is the most extreme. And he settles down into that pose. Turning of the upper body is a little bit too late. It could be a little more early. And when he moves into that pose, there should be a little bit of overlapping action. When his hip goes back, the upper body moves forward. It's like a wave. Ah, there was something, the wave principle. And then there's something weird happening here. Let's get rid of the one before, so he settles into that pose smoother. More like that, but still there has to be some overlap. But it's not really that what I want yet, so I have to tweak it a little bit more. The whole transition between those two poses are very linear. Everything turns at the same time, like now. First delete some stupid keys here. I extend this. Make it a little bit longer. And get rid of those keys. Looks like experimenting a little bit, and it is. I'm trying out what will be the best way. Here we see everything is turning at the same time. So what I do, I take his head and turn it towards earlier. So the head is leading. If I take a look at the upper body, it's still moving a little bit weird. So let's delete some keys and clean it up. And turn it in here. But now first save it. And take a look what we have now. What I have to do with the hand, make it more believable. You animate the fingers more. It's not too bad. At the end, the eyes, they don't work at all. I have to throw the ball. Okay. Maybe the hip first. Hip goes down. Then it should go up a little bit forward and make an arc. And here the upper lids should be open. And before that we make a blink. So as I told you before, I really like to put in blinks while turning the head and looking into a different direction. The moment when he closes the eyes, I will lower the eyebrows, but it's too much now. It's like a very subtle or very small squash while turning the head. Here we can move the eye center moving hold, go into a more extreme pose. And here the hip is not yet right, so I put a key here, and I get rid of this one. So the curve will get smoother. So I can do that basically for the whole body, get rid of some keys. Even though I can get rid of this one. So it goes into a slow in. Alright, so let's take a look at the beginning.